Hello, Steve Arts 89. So I'm continuing on with my science fiction movie marathon, and last night I did a double of the original Blob and the sequel, which has many names. Beware the Blob, Son of Blob, Blob 2, and The Blob Returns. It was a 1972 American independent science fiction comedy horror, according to Wikipedia. It was directed by Larry Hagman, who of course played Jeannie's boyfriend in I Dream of Jeannie, and of course J.R. Ewing in Dallas, but that was like later. It's supposed to be a sequel to The Blob. The screenplay was written by Anthony Harris and Jack Woods. It's just awful on so many levels. I was shocked. I was watching it like, how did this get made? Who made this? And then there's some people in it, and I'm like, how are these people involved? Robert Walker Jr., I think, basically, Charlie X is sort of the main sort of teen sort of protagonist in the film. He's sort of not the first character. Like, oh God, the first couple that die are just, there's just these scenes that go on and on with this rambling dialogue, and people that are they're not looking at each other. The photography's off, the shots are off. It's just so badly directed and so badly shot. It looks just awful in every way a 70s film can. It's got a few other people in it that I recognise, but now I'm not remembering their names. And they're also not here, I think, because some of them were considered sort of guests. Like Cindy Williams from Laverne and Shirley, Charlie X from Star Trek. Larry Hagman directed it, and there are a few other recognisable faces. I'm like, oh, what's he doing in this? How did they get him? But yeah, there's just so many levels of bad. I just don't see how it could be so difficult to write a sequel to The Blob. I can understand how maybe filming it might be difficult, but the effects aren't really bad, actually. The Blob looks really orange and doesn't have that creepy translucent purple sort of look. It's more like a big bright orange sort of, I don't know how to describe it, not Play-Doh, but sort of like gel. I don't know, they do a better job on some level, but it doesn't look as good, it's not as convincing. But yeah, like the story, basically there's this couple, a black couple, they're just at home, and one of them was doing some construction work or something, and he found the Blob under the ground, no explanation, and he put it in a canister that looks like something from a science fiction movie, and he put it in the fridge, and she's like, what's this doing in our fridge? And she puts it on the sink, and then eventually the lid just pops off, and the Blob eats their kitten and then eats each of them. And like I said, some of the effects are decent, but the way they're shot is bad. So it's really weird when you have one element in a film that works, like maybe the acting or the writing or the effects, but then nothing else does, and it's just woeful. And then some girl shows up and she's like, oh my God, my friends are dead. She tries to warn everyone, no one listens to her, and she goes backwards and forwards between panicking and trying to warn everyone something's coming to kill them all, and just doing dumb teenage girl things. It's just really, there's no consistency in the character, there's no logic in the story, there's just characters that do stuff. There's whole scenes of people just rambling around doing things that have nothing to do with the story or nothing to do with anything. I'm like, what is this here for? It's not funny, it's not moving the story along, it's just random and weird and poorly directed, and people are just, it's like they just put a camera on and let people just walk around and make up their own scenes or something. It's just, the end scene is in a bowling alley, and the Blob basically comes in and kills pretty much everyone except Charlie and the main sort of confused girl. And eventually he discovers that the cold, hurts the Blob, and he uses that to escape and let people know this. And then they use the ice rink, the freezing element of the ice rink, to freeze the Blob. And at the end of the film, the policeman is being asked to give some comment by a reporter, and he stands up and puts his leg up and does a speech and about how this is the biggest challenge we've ever had. And as the Blob is slowly thawing out and pulling around his feet, and then the end of the film is he looks down and the film just ends there. I'm like, Jesus, that was probably the worst film I've ever seen. There was just nothing to really like about it. Even the effects, like I said, they were good, but they were shot so badly you couldn't really see them half the time. And just no one did anything that made any sense, and I just can't. I'm going to go. I wouldn't watch this film again. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think of this film. If you've seen it, I wouldn't suggest watching it. Do tell me what you think of it. But yeah, I'm going to go watch the remake of The Blob, and the remake of The Thing, and the remake of Invaders from Mars, and all the 80s remakes of all the classic 50s and 60s horror movies, or sci-fi horror movies.